Well, maybe you're curious about this mate with knight and bishop, or maybe you just want to get a little better, or you just want an extra knowledge, or you're just looking for a challenge. I don't know what's the reason for you to learn this, actually, but the thing is that this mate is not really as hard as they say, especially if you understand it with this approach I'm going to show you. It's not going to be so hard. So, how to mate with knight and bishop? Let's talk about that. So, there are going to be 3 steps. Step 1, step 2, and step 3, and then it's over. So that is going to simplify things a little. Also keep in mind that you want to force the king to the edge of the board, and you want to force the king to the corner of the same color as your bishop. That's something you need to keep in mind. But let me tell you something. You can force the king to the edge of the board directly, I mean, just maneuvering, but you will force the king to the opposite color corner. So it's not going to be so easy to make him go to the right corner for the mate. So the thing is that the first step is force the king to the edge, then force the king to the corner of the same color as your bishop, and then mate. So those are the 3 steps. Let me show you how this works. I have a didactic example here, and then after I show you how it works, I will actually play it versus an engine, versus the bot on chess.com, so I can show you, hopefully, how to mate with knight and bishop. So the idea here is that this is a very bad position, of course. I mean, the pieces are very disconnected, very far. So the first thing we're going to do is, like, improve the pieces a little, like bring the king to the center and also improve the knight and the bishop. And here I want to give you already the first tip, or the first hint about this mate, and it is that if you complement the knight and bishop correctly, they're going to control many squares. So you're going to need to do this, like connect them in a way where they control more squares. Usually this way is when they are on the same color squares, then that's a good thing and you control squares. Like you're trapping the king in some way. For example, here you're controlling all these squares around the king, which is going to be a good thing. Keep that in mind, we're going to use it again. So in the next moves, you can continue making progress with the king and also with your minor pieces, maneuvering. At some point, you can get into something like this. Again, this is what I was saying. They are complementing very well. The bishop controls dark squares, and the knight controls light squares. Let me show you. You're controlling right now here, 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 but also here, here, and here. So basically, the king cannot escape. I mean, maybe they could try something like that, but of course, you won't let him escape. Whenever the king comes here to d1, you will come to d3. So, I mean, they cannot escape. So the thing is, keep in mind that you need to connect your knight and your bishop very well. That's something you're going to need to do. Observe, there's not like a clear method to force the king to the edge of the board. There's not like a recipe for this. You just improve your knight and your bishop and your king until you force him to the edge. So keep in mind this, because you're going to need this concept almost for sure. So we continue making progress, forcing, using our king to force his king to the edge of the board. And at some point, we're going to get into something like this. And this is where we finish the first step. We already forced the king to the edge of the board. And here we're going to get into the second step. So this is the wrong corner, right? We need to force the king to the right corner of the board so you can actually give checkmate. This is the corner, same color as your bishop. This is where you can actually give checkmate. You won't be able to force checkmate here. So we need to maneuver with knight and bishop, and also with the king, to make the king go over there. The way to do that is by controlling. You're already controlling this square. You're going to control the other one, then the other one, square by square. You're going to force the king up to this corner. That's the plan. How do we do that? Well, it's actually more or less easy. With the bishop, you're going to control this one. And then with the knight, you're going to maneuver, and you're going to control this one. And then with the bishop, you will control this one. I will show you, but that's the plan. So at this point, you play bishop a7. You're already controlling b8. And then after that, you need to maneuver with your knight. So when they go back, you control c8. The most critical line is when they actually try to escape. This is dangerous. You need to play something very accurate and very strong. So you need to be aware of this line. But well, you should know that if they go here, you just play a knight to e7, controlling this one, and then they go here, you go here, and they go here, they want to escape, you don't want to let them escape, just go here, and if they come back, you just give a check and you're controlling the next one. And then after this you can continue, with the same maneuver, bringing your knight to control e8. So, same thing. It's like a repetition of the same pattern one more time. So we're going to get into the critical line where they try to escape. This is dangerous. And the plan here is that we're going to create like some kind of cage for the king on this area of the board over here. So you're going to need your knight, your bishop, and your king very well connected, so you don't let him escape. Basically, you're going to control all these squares and also these ones, so the king cannot escape. And then after that, you're going to be okay. So the plan here is just play king here and knight e7. Don't forget those two moves. You're going to need those two moves for sure. And then just play bishop here. So as you can see, we're already controlling all these squares. So in some way, the king won't be able to escape. It's like a cage there, and the king is trapped. So we're good again. The king is closer to the corner every time. So, we continue making progress, controlling squares, and also making progress with our king. So once the king is here, this is actually very easy already because the king is already trapped in the corner. Just keep improving. And actually, once the king is forced, totally controlled in the corner, we're going to get into step number 3, which is finally give mate, right? Like knight and bishop, find a checkmate position there. Of course, never let the king escape over here. Always control this square. Maneuver with knight and bishop so you can find the checkmate position. So let me show you. In this example, the maneuver was like this, more or less. Basically, you're going to control the light square with the knight and the dark square with the bishop. That's the plan. So, well, at some point you check and then you mate. So remember those 3 steps. First of all, force the king to the edge, then force the king to the right corner, and then once the king is there, just maneuver to create the checkmate position. Those are the 3 steps you need to know. Now I'm going to play this against a bot, and hopefully I can win this game. So let's see. Remember, there are only 50 moves, so if I don't mate him in 50 moves, I'm going to be in big trouble. So let's see. It's going to be a draw, right? It's not big trouble, it's like a draw. So first of all, I'm going to put the pieces in, good squares. I can make some progress with my king here. So I will do it. I'm looking at these squares again, so let me try something like this. Okay, that's probably not very good. So I'm going to the other side. Okay. Okay, I think we're making progress now. Exactly. Okay, this is the same position we had in the example. So this is actually making progress. I can change the diagonal for the bishop. That's a good thing. And that's again making progress, I believe. He wants to escape over this square. I don't want to let him do that, so I will play this. And then I will play this. Okay. I guess this is a good thing. Okay. Yeah, exactly. So do you see? Now, the king is trapped. As I said, there is not like a clear method or a clear recipe for the first step of forcing the king to the edge. Just make progress with king, bishop, and knight until you get that. So according to our analysis, the knight should be here controlling there. So I'm going to move over there. Exactly. Okay. Okay, so officially we finished here the first step. The king is on the edge of the board, and now we're getting to the second step where we need to force the king from here to here. Okay, so I'm going to maneuver with my bishop to control there. So bishop here and bishop here. That's something we already know. And then we maneuver with the knight because we want to go over here. Okay, he's trying to escape. It's the line where he tries to escape. Here we bring the king and we bring the knight. Don't forget that. So king here and knight here. Okay, perfect. So we are controlling the light squares, but we need to control the dark squares because the king is escaping. So bishop here should be very good. Ideally, my bishop is going to be here, right? So I'm going to play a tempo because once the bishop is here, I created like a wall there. So this is a good thing. Man, maybe he's trying to escape, but we know that's not really working, right? Like I'm going to bring my bishop here and boom, now you're not going anywhere. And then I think I need to control this square, so I maneuver with my knight to control that square. This is perfect. And I can control this square now. This is good. I want letting escape over here, so this is good. So yeah, this is what I wanted. Now we are officially in the third step. The king is trapped in those two squares, so all we need to do is maneuver with knight and bishop to create checkmate position. Ideally, we control this with the bishop and this with the knight. So let's see how's the fastest mate. I think this is mate in 3. If I make a tempo, it's mate in 3. So bishop, knight, and then bishop here. And I mated my opponent in 43 moves. It was not very fast, right? It's not like a great performance, but well, we were able to win the game just in time. So, well, that's the idea, guys. I hope this has been helpful. I hope this helps you to learn the stuff, but not so tough, but interesting and challenging, made with knight and bishop. Like if you liked it, subscribe if you think the content in the channel is good. Thank you very much for your time. I catch you guys in the next.